Love knows no bounds, and who knows that better than Ku, who has been separated from his childhood Swir Janu for 14 years, 3 months and 17 days to Seno. It doesn't matter that they were just children when they met. He knows in his heart that they are soulmates, and no matter what happens, he is meant to be with her every day without fail. Seno starts jogging from his home to reach the bench at the Ram Krishna Sigal exactly at 7:30. This is because he has never forgotten the promise he made to Janu that every morning at 7:30 he'd wait here. Seno feels all alone in this world and believes no one can understand him. Except Janu, her presence alone meant everything to him. His longing is interrupted by his ringing phone. He picks up the call, and the caller tells him that the alba he had ordered has arrived at the location. Seno starts telling him that he never ordered an alba when he hears a beautiful violin. Melody. It is the melody he composed for Janu when they were just kids. No one but Keno and Junu know this melody. He asks the driver not to cut the call and asks him where he is, because finally, after so many years, he has a shot at finding Janu. The driver is about to answer when a thief snatches Seno's phone out of his hand. Seno looks to see the thief running away and chases after him, chasing him through streets and over rooftops. The thief leads him all the way to a subway station. The thief boards a train, and Seno jumps in the nearest cabin as well. But this was a bad move, because the cabins are separated by a glass door. The thief smirks at him, but Seno pays no mind. He gives the thief all his money and tells him he can keep the money, and the phone all he needs is the number of the last received call. The thief is very dumbfounded at his request. He asks if Seno will let him go once he gives him the number. Seno promises not to take any action. The man takes out the phone to narrate the number. The thief is just 4 digits in when the train pulls to a stop, and he bolts. Seno chases him again. He gets a hold of the thief's shirt, but it just rips through the rips. He glimpses very familiar scars on the thief's back. The scars remind him of a bully named Pandu he knew when he was a kid. Seno takes a shortcut and intercepts the field. He searches his pockets for his phone, but finds only one phone that isn't his. His phone is nowhere to be found, and he asks the thief where the phone is. The thief replies that he never even had his phone. As soon as he had snatched the phone from Seno, he handed it to his partner. Seno didn't notice the partner, and only ran after the thief. Seno is very angry, and asks the thief why he is always trying to ruin things for him. Seno calls him by his name, and he is shocked. Seno tells him how when they were kids, Pandu stole his money, and because of him, he got into an accident at the Ram Krishna signal. This event changed his life. Back when Seno was a 12-year-old little boy, he was an orphan who had no one in the world to take care of him. He would sleep on a tree where he had a net set up and had only 2 blankets. In the morning, he would play the tunes of popular Bollywood songs at the Ram Krishna signal. Seno was very talented, and he would fiddle away the days and earn money to survive in this harsh world. Every now and then he would spend his hard-earned money to buy panipuri from a street vendor near his tree. That is where he first met Janu. She was a beautiful little girl. She always came to get her pampuri at a specific time in the evening. Seno and the vendor thought she was very interested, because she would always ask for the water first, then she would ask for the pui. But instead of dipping it, she would crunch it into pieces and sprinkle it in the water. All of her quirkiness made her unforgettable. The first time she noticed Seno, she asked him if he knew how to play the yura he always held. Seno, eager to impress her, played a popular tune. Janu grimaced and shook her head. Seno asked her what was wrong, and Janu told him that he should make his own tunes, having said her piece. She ran back saying she was late. Seno started composing a song right away one day when he met Jundu at the store. Seno noticed that her bangles were gone. He asked her, and she told him how she fell and broke her bangles. Seno saves and buys her brand new red bangles. Soon Janu tells her driver to take the Ram Krishna Street to school, so every morning she would drop a 100 rupees for Seno. One day, she joined Seno up at his tree, and he gifted her the bangles in return. She told Seno that she could read palms and that he was fated to receive a 100 rupees every day if he showed up at the signal at 7:30 a.m. every morning. Seno promises her to be there every day. Innocent Junu is happy to be doing something to make Seno's life better, but not all is as it seems. Seeing the money Seno made daily, the older and stronger street kids would bully him and take his money away. One day Janu sees him bruised and battered with his ekara broken. She fixes his instrument and brings medicine for his injuries. The two were closer than ever, and anyone who knew them could see the bond they had. But life took a turn for both of them when Jan's father received a transfer letter that sent their whole family to Delhi, distraught at having to leave Keno. Janu thought about how she could keep him in her life on her last ride on the Ram Krishna road. She wrote her mother's number on a 100 rupee note and gave it to Seno. She gestured at him to see there, and Seno nodded. Though this was a good plan, it didn't work because in the blink of an eye, Pandu had snatched the note out of Seno's hand. Seno chased Pandu across the street but got hit by a car. The woman driving the car, Serigan, was beside herself and took little Keno to the hospital there. Her husband Prash showed up and told her not to worry. He decided to check up on Seno. Seno, bruised and battered, was surrounded by police officers who tried to convince him to ask Serigan for compensation. Seno, who had a pure heart, only kept asking the police officers if the auntie was all right. The police officers realised that the boy had no mind for matters of money and left him, saying he was a lost cause. The inspector, upon noticing Prash, congratulated him and told him that Hisarogan managed to hit the most pure-hearted street child out there, so they didn't need to pay the child. Keno's innocence impressed the couple, and they gave him a new name, Ash, and changed his life for the better. They enrolled him in a school and gave him many luxuries he hadn't ever dreamed of in return, and Nash loved them with all his heart. Though both Johnny and Aunt Ass's lives had changed irrevocably, they never forgot each other. Janu waited for Chino's call every day, and every morning, at 7:30 a.m. Seno would be found at the Ram Krishna signal, waiting for Janu. The first time Seno left home so early, both his adoptive parents were out of their minds with worry. Later they patiently asked Seno where he went, and why Ku told him everything about Janu, and why he must go to the Ram Krishna city signal every day without fail. At the same time, Janu's parents noticed how depressed she was. They asked her why she was so down. She told them all about Tino. Her father used his connections to find out about Seno, but no one knew anything about him. Life went on, and both of them grew up. Janu, now a grown woman, melted her glass bangles to make a single bangle that fit her arm. Since a young age, she had taken violin lessons, just so she would never forget the melody Keno wrote for her. In present time, Pandu apologizes to Anas for his mistakes. He tells him he does not want to hear his apologies. All he wants is the number from the phone. Who tells him that's impossible, because the phone is now in the hands of smugglers who have a huge business of stolen mobile phones, and Nash doesn't care what he has to face. He sets off with Pandu to the warehouse. The goons there deny his entry and tell him to get lost, and Nash doesn't like that answer and beats the thug at the door. This causes almost all of the goons to try and beat him, and Nash takes them out all by himself until there's only one thug left standing. That last thug asks him for mercy, AV. Nash asks him where all the phones are, and he tells him that the phones have been shipped off to Delhi 10 minutes ago, and Nash lets out a roar of fury, terrified. For himself, the thug gives Ash his bike keys and asks to be spared. Ash hops on the bike and chases down the container. He outwits all the thugs that are after him, and manages to get the container to stop. Through the countless phones, he looks for his own. He manages to find it, breathing a sigh of relief, but when he turns it over, he discovers that the screen is broken in a hurry. And Nash takes his broken phone to a phone repair shop, but the remaining thugs track him down. Using his location, he puts up a good fight, but as soon as his phone is repaired, he loses focus. He calls the Uber driver and asks him about the person who played the melody. He tells Ash that a beautiful woman played the melody at the Rockwell Music Festival. This gives Ash hope that it's Junu is playing the melody. This distraction casts unease when a thud hits him in the back of the head. He falls down unconscious, and they take him back to the warehouse and tie him up. And it was indeed Janu playing the soulful melody. But the most peculiar thing was that Avanes had already met her a week ago. Janu, who now went by her real name Pirai, arrived in Hitbad to attend her friend's wedding. This was Pri's last chance to find Chino, because she was leaving the country. Very soon, Pirai boards her plane from Delhi, and she is by chance seated with Anash's mother. His mother takes an immediate liking to Pirai and talks to her non-stop about everything, especially about her perfect son. As soon as the plane landed, Priya excused herself and got away from the chattering woman. Her friend picked her up from the airport. But on their way, the car tyre punctured. Their driver was an aged man who went out in the pouring rain to change the tyre. Anash, who was also returning from the airport with his mother, stopped at car and helped the driver. This left an impression on PRI the next morning on his usual jog. Nash noticed the street children hopping around in joy. He asked one of them what this was. They tell him that there's a nice lady giving all the kids 100 rupees. That lady is PRI, and Ash reaches her just when she was all out of cash, and the last boy stood there looking dejected. Nash gave the boy 100 rupees. PRI recognized him from the airport, and the car incident. She thanked him for the help then and now, and they both took a stroll. They talked quite a bit afterwards. They part ways after that. Later that evening, Prash got home from a business trip, greeted his wife and asked about her trip. She started telling him all about PRI and how she felt like this girl was perfect for Ayan. As while she was talking, Prash noticed that the diamond ring he gifted her for their anniversary was missing. She laughed and told him she used the fake diamond ring to test Pri's honesty by leaving it in her back. If she returned the ring to her, it meant PRI was just as perfect as she had judged. Prash went pale with shock as he told Surujan that the ring was not fake at all. Rather, it was a 50-like diamond ring. Both of them had started to panic when the bell rang, and it was PRI who had come to return the ring. Ash opened the door, and both were surprised to see each other. When she told him why she was here, he put two and two together and teased her about the chattering eye, polite to a fault. Priya doesn't want Saujini to feel bad, so she begs Ash not to say anything that was the start of a beautiful friendship. PRI spent the next 5 days in Anash's company. She invited his family to her friend's wedding as well. They developed a close bond, and both of them were obsessed with each other. But all this stopped when Priya learned about Keno's accident. She is told that after the accident, Seno was never seen again in her grief. She ignored Ash and avoided him until the wedding there. Ash and Priya had a moment, and Anis confessed to her his feelings, but Priya ran away. He tried holding on to her, but he accidentally ended up breaking her glass bangle from Seno destroyed. Priya slapped Anai and told him to never show his face again back in the present. Nash wakes up bound to a chair with thugs holding him for ransom. He breaks out of the bonds and overtakes the thugs. He rounds them all in a corner, and the boss asks him, why was that last number so important? Was he a drug dealer or a smuggler? Ash glares at him and he shuts up. He hurries to the Rockel Music Festival and finds the stall where the violin are. He asks the vendor about someone who played a violin at the stall, and he replies that there are hundreds of people who come and go. He can't possibly remember them all. He then plays him the melody. Priya, who is also at the festival, hears the melody and tries running towards it but can't locate where it's from. Nash, who has found a clue after 14 years, feels helpless at the thought of being so close to finding his soulmate, but losing her because of circumstances. That's when a passing wind miraculously brings a 100 rupee note right to him. Ash picks it up and can't believe his eyes. It is scribbled with a number, and it looks like the same note Janu had once given him. He calls the number, hoping that this will work. Pirai picks up the call. He tells her he's Seno and he's here at the Rockel Music Festival. PRI tells him she's there too, but before Seno can tell her where he is her battery dies. Nash then plays the melody on a violin. Priya runs toward it. Seeing Evie Nash playing the melody, Priya realises he is Seno, and sobs in relief that she had fallen for Seno all over again. Both of them have finally found each other, and all is well. And there we have it. This was an overview of the captivating 2017 Tamil movie, Hello, a thrilling mix of romance and action. The film, directed by Vikram Kumar, leads us through a serendipitous love story wrapped in layers of fate and destiny. Weren't we all surprised by Evanas's relentless pursuit to reconnect with his childhood love, Priya? Despite all the obstacles and years apart, his dedication never wavers. If you've ever experienced such a strong, unyielding love, how did it shape your destiny? Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch this next video. I know you are going to love it.